the movement in America, the Conservative Party, which claimed the Republic for being theirs, beyond democracy at this point, under the Trump mania, they want to dollarize South America, to make them all beholden to the Treasury Department of Congress purse strings through the oligarch bankers of the Federal Reserve. They want to dollarize the whole of South America. And basically, if you don't control the currency and you get taxed without representation, technically you're a slave. So they want to dollarize the whole of South America for the Treasury Department of the United States Congress controlling the purse strings to the Federal Reserve, thereby taxing all of South America without no representation for South America. They want to enslave it with serfdom. And then what they want to do, they want to divide Europe economically. The conservative, the good old boys under Trump mania, they want to tariff Canada, cause Britain to Brexit, cause tariff wars on Germany and France. And not only that, they want to go further. They want to pivot to Asia. And see, America is too afraid to fight China one-on-one because we have 350 population of citizens in America. And now we're going to deport 21 million. So that brings the numbers down. So America is too afraid and coward to fight China one-on-one because China has 1.6 billion people. So America's strategies, since we're cowards and we're on demand to go fight China one-on-one, we want to stay in the back and force India to be the cannon fodder with their peasant armies to march their soldiers and to head first into China with the Indian peasant soldiers, and in the hopes that they can slaughter themselves. And then we want Japan to get involved. Then we want Taiwan and South Korea and Vietnam and Australia. And while they're destroying each other in their regions, America stays back in the Pentagon. And America waits to the very last moment when that region is purely destroyed, where all their nations in that region are destroyed. And then America sends their ships, the Navy ships, to pick up the pieces and to enslave for pennies on the dollar the whole of Asia, including Australia, Japan, South Korea, Vietnam, Taiwan, India, China. That's America's foreign affairs policy, pivoting to Asia with the Quad members and the Four Eyes. Four Eyes is the spies agencies of that they have set to spy on China. But like I said, America's too afraid to combat China one-on-one because we have no population to confront their armies. Their 1.6 billion Chinese population. So for that reason, like I said, America's policies is to sit back like cowards in the Pentagon and antagonize the Quad members to fight each other. And while they're destroying their regions, while they're combating each other's, and while they are obliterating their regions, America stays back with their generals inside the Pentagon. And then towards the end of their destructive regions, after the conclusion of that regional war, that's when America will sail their ships to Asia and control the oceans and colonize all of y'all with impunity for pennies on a dollar. America wants to use NATO to do the heavy lifting to confront Russia. And Trump refuses to pay because he's busy extorting our allies globally to make America first and the world last. But this is the Conservative Party. You know, they said in Lindsey Graham, I think, said, or it was a senator that said, this is a republic before democracy. So in that sense, yeah, it makes sense. The Republican Trump Party believes that this is their private property, their private land, and democracy can go out the door. So you start to see how the foreign affairs of America, what are the ambitions of this hegemonic superpower, sole superpower? And not to mention, America wants to use the petrodollar to keep the world enslaved, hold captive the world to be stuck on gasoline. So they want to cuff you. President Trump wants to cuff you. I apologize. Give me a minute. The background, my dog is walking all over the bed making noise. Give me 1 minute. All right. So America wants to cuff you, the world, that is, and everybody in it, to the gasoline dollars of Trump snake oil remedies. As Rockefeller father, Trump is a con artist with remedies, venomous remedies for the love of oil. So he wants to keep the world shackled and everybody in it handcuffed to gasoline. So these are the policies of America under Trump mania. Ask me, do I know? How I know? I work in the shadows. I know everything. I know everything. These policies have been taking place for a long, long time too, before Trump. This is the agenda of America, how to maintain its world hegemonic, undisputed position as the world's most powerful country. To enslave the world to the dependency of every car on earth being shackled and handcuffed to gasoline. Just for America can maintain their position as the world's most powerful, only superpower nation. Does that make sense to the rest of the world? No, it doesn't. It's not fair for the rest of the world or the regions of the world. It's not fair for Europe. It's not fair for Asia. It's not fair for the Americas or South America and the Caribbean. It's not fair for Canada. It's not fair for Asia. It's not fair for nobody. It's not fair for nobody in no regions. These nightmares of Washingtonian pagans, Roman senators, that all roads lead to America Washingtonian pagans. The root of all evil through all roads lead back to the stock exchange and trace back to the Treasury Department and into Congress purse strings. This is the hegemonic pagan Washingtonians' Capitol Hill. Does that make sense for the rest of the world? And what I'm telling y'all, I'm not making this thing up. These are the policies. These are the agendas. This is how America plans to stay on top while the rest of the world comes last. Is it a fair global system? In my eyes, no, it's not. In my opinion, it's a demonic system that needs to be vanquished. That's the world order. So study all my videos on my YouTube channel to understand in my entirety my mission statement. Study all my videos on this YouTube channel, RL101 United Nations, to understand my mission statement. I'm the leading author and a theologian of new evolutionary processes that will be a fair distribution in a multipolar ordered world. So you have to educate yourself on my theologies to understand how the world needs to represent themselves. The world needs to have freedoms for their regions and their peoples of every country throughout the world. That is democracy. That is global democracy. Not one nation can impose themselves on the rest of the world and enslave them with impunity, like America has for the last decades. So we need to liberate the world in a multipolar democratic system as the world order. We cannot allow one nation and the tyrants of the Roman pagan Washingtonian senates be narrow-minded like Nero, be Caligula small-minded, be fiddling away while the rest of the world is burning like Nero, with their narrow perceptions of world policies. The senates, the toga-wearing senators of Washington, D.C., where all roads of that greenback leads back to them and the imperial rule with their pagan Washingtonian monument for their righteousness of gluttony. For that reason, and that reason only, that paganism has to come to an end. The rest of the world has to represent themselves equally with fair distributions of democracies that are fair to the regions of all nations, with undiscriminable and unrebukable human rights, to yearn free and to sit at the table and have their place in society globally, without no one nation trying to hegemonically subvert freedom and democracies for all of humankind. We should do away with these handcuffs of imperial enslavement to gasoline, where all roads of these petrodollars lead back to that Roman senators, the imperialists, toga-wearing worshippers of pagan Washingtonian monuments, and that rotunda that they praise so much as the Capitol Mount of democracy, with the hypocritical words of senators wearing togas, trying to rule over the world as a Romanic imperial, delusional version of democratic values. In that manner, we have to stand up as human beings throughout the world and erase and break the shackles of enslavement and rebuke this hegemonic power and stand up for our rights, our human rights throughout the world. We yearn to be free. We yearn to be free. Let all nations rise up and sit at their table in the global order. Let all nations have the equal right of sovereignty to be permanent members of the Security Council.